Okay, guys, so I have an hour and a half before I gotta pick up Dorian, and I think I can get this done. We'll see. I've been wanting to make a new traveler's notebook for my swaps because this is the one I had before, and this is the very first traveler's notebook I ever made. I made this one, I think, for a tutorial. Maybe I said it was for the swap, but then it wasn't quite right. You know, I was still working out the kinks, so I kept it for myself as my swap folder. As you can see, I mean, look at my little tiny beads. I just thought a little something because I was going to keep it here anyway. Look, I mean, there's postage return, there's money from the swaps, there's different notes that I keep for all the different swaps, and I already have two notebooks full of like names. I even went on to the last page, the actual cover. I have receipts from sending all those swaps out, which I probably can get rid of at this point. I do have a dot grid in here that I hardly use, but those are actually, I was just looking for this. I'm like, where are my numbers for the actual swap? This is what I used to do back in the day. Oh, before I get too far, if I have any items that are, you know, you can pick up, I will link them in the description box. Those will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. I am so sorry with the lighting. I do not know why it keeps turning yellow. It's really annoying. It's like a daylight look, but it's too yellow. Anyway, maybe that's a little bit better. So this is actually what I was looking for, so perfect. I wrote it down again here after I found one of my videos. So I'm just going to make myself a new swap traveler's notebook. That's all I'm trying to do. And even though this one is keeping up, I mean, she looks good, right? I mean, that's the whole point of the laminated outside, that it just keeps everything all nice, and then you can switch out your inserts. But I want a new look, so that's what we're going for. I'll put this to the side. I'll put that to the side. I did print out, and I only have one of them for some reason, this insert. And I went back, guys, and I looked at my old videos, and I'm like, where did I talk about these inserts? Because a lot of times I'll try and link them. Generally, they're free downloads. This one was from Maple Art Studio. I don't have anything to do with them. I don't know anything about them. I did trust them enough to download it because I think you actually have to download it, not just, you know, print it from their page. And it's for the B6 size notebook, I believe. I haven't done it in a while, but on their instructions, when you download, it has like a page that has instruction, and it just tells you there, like, print double-sided, short binding edge, and those kind of things, like what your settings should show. It did say to say landscape, and I didn't do landscape, and this looks fine to me, though, because basically a B6 size, I always round it up to 5x7. This looks fine. And the reason you want to flip it is, even though it is pretty much the same, it's just that when you flip it and your computer prints it out, it might be flipped in a way that they don't line up. So if you look through it, I don't know, I guess I can't really show you. But anyway, if you put light behind it, you can see it's perfectly the same on one side and the other, which is nice. Otherwise, I think one of these is a little bit, like, I don't know if you can tell, there's a little less room here and there's a little more here. So then it'll be flipped wrong. So when you go to fold your paper, it doesn't line up right. So always read the instructions on any download. Like, let's say you buy something from Etsy, an insert that somebody printed up or made. You want to read their instructions on how to print it out. But I'm going to use this paper pack Storyteller because I thought it's wild and it's fun. Oh, I like that. Hold on. I had chosen another one in my mind to be the front, like this one, more plain, so I can still put like VianneyCreates swaps on there. But this is kind of funky. Oh, I like that one too. Oh, maybe even this one. Okay, fine. I'll use this one for my cover. And then in these paper packs, this first edition stuff, I did find that Amazon has a lot of them. Somebody had said Craft Stash used to sell them, but right now Craft Stash doesn't have any. I found these at Joann, so, you know, whatever's you want. These guys are some good weight paper. It does say 200 GSM, but some of them are different. Like this one, in my opinion, feels a little thinner than this one, but maybe they're not. Maybe it just gives that illusion because this one has the glitter, you know? I do not want to laminate this just in case it comes away. I don't want it to look all ugly, so I'm not going to use that. But I might use it for the inserts. Oh, like this one. Can be one of my inserts. And this is fun. Why not? So it looks like there's 3 sheets of each, and I probably will do 3 inserts. So what do we have? Some glittery stuff, some not glittery. Ooh, this pearlescent one would be pretty, but should I waste that on my own? When I say waste, it's because I'd rather use this for, like, to give it to somebody, but okay, fine, we'll use that. Let's make it nice. So I usually make a folder too. I'm probably not going to make a folder because I don't really use it. You know, I usually just, maybe I'll make a folder later that will work for like all the receipts that I keep. But for right now, I just kind of stick them in there. So these will be my inserts, the actual inserts that go in here. Again, I have 2 2 lined ones and a dot grid one. I know it's hard to tell, but those are all filled up. And then this is like a folder I had made that was more like a pocket. And there are some receipts in there too, so I was just trying things out. But now that I've done it, I'm like, for this is all I need. So for my insert covers, I have these 3. And then for my cover, I have this one that's double-sided, look really pretty inside and out, so we'll do that. And let's see the numbers. So I'll talk about the cover really quick. I need it to be 7 1/4 by 11 1/4. And then we'll do the binding and all that. I think I can get this done, you guys. We'll see. Famous last words, right? I'm like, I can't get this done in an hour. I've done it before on a live with you guys. Okay, 7 1/4. And I'm going to laminate this, of course. By 11 1/4 is what I'm using for this one. Sometimes I change those numbers, but not really. So the insert itself has to be legitimately 5 by 7. That's kind of how I treat these. So that's for my cover. So I'm going to put that to the side for now. These are for my inserts, and I'm not going to cut them all together because, you know, things shift around and whatever. So these legitimately are going to be 7 inches tall. 7 inches tall, and I'm going to cut all 3 of them the same way. 7 inches tall. And I like them to be just over 10 inches because, yes, we're going to score it and it's going to be 7 by 5 or 5 by 7. But when you fold it and you put the inserts, it kind of, the middle of the insert spans more, right? Because it can't take up the same, it can't occupy the same space. So I do 10 and like almost 10 1/4, but not quite, okay? And this paper is a little bit thinner because it's what they call UV paper, but it's pearlescent paper. So all I would do with something like this is honestly I'd bring it to something like this thing, just match it up or on your scoreboard and just be careful in scoring it. Okay? So that way I didn't even have to bother with like, oh, it was 10 and 3/16 or some weird number, right? Now I gotta fold it in half. No, I'm just, whatever. Same thing with these guys. So I'll cut these down to be 7 inches tall. You know, if there's a direction, make sure to pay attention to that. By just under 10 1/4. I'll be right back. If I cut it at 7, it has a whole gold band up here, but then it has a little bit at the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is kind of split the difference. So if I have it there, maybe right here, just to make it look pretty. Obviously, I'm the only one that's really gonna pay attention to this, but, and then on the other side, I'll go to 7. And now I have a nice gold band at the top and the bottom instead of just a lot on the top and then very little at the bottom. And again, just under 10 1/4. Oh. And then I'll fold it just like I did the first one. This time I'm going to bump it up to the top and to the very side. That way I know it's nice and straight. And again, just scoring it with my hand. All right. Well, let me get my inserts. I'll be right back. Cover, our insert covers. And then these are the pages that I printed out. And I printed out just a ton of lined pages because that's what I need. I want to make sure that these are the same. What's funny is my printer's been acting really crazy. And so I was like, yeah, whatever. Look at how they're like pink here for some reason. I don't know if you can tell. I am so sorry about that lighting. Does this help? Not really, huh? Let's see. Let's just turn that off. And some of them are legitimately like black, but that's okay. I don't remember how many pages I printed out, so I'm going to count these and just divide them up. So I'll be right back. I have 14, so I'll just do 5, 5, and 4. I usually like doing 6 in each one. So again, this needs to be folded up and cut into a way that is going to be the 7 inches. So and these have little marks that supposedly are the 7 inches, but sometimes, you know, depending on your printer might not treat it the same. Like right now, I've been looking at it. If I cut it there, it's too short, you know? So let me think. What do I want to do? Do I want to cut the sides off first? The page is 11 inches. That's already 10. Ooh. I think what I did was I printed this on an A4 paper and it made it a little bit shorter than I would like, but that's okay. So let me go 10 1/2. Because usually the line goes to the very edge of my paper. So I did 1/2 inch off the one side, 1/2 inch off the other. And now this side I'm going to decide like what is it that I want to do here. And since this is 8 or so inch paper, 8 1/2, right? So that means 3/4 inches. So let's do 3/4 inch off there and 3/4 inch off here. Again, I probably printed this wrong, but it's for me and I'm not gonna fret about it. If it was for a swap, that'd be a different story. Okay. Again, I might have printed up the wrong paper anyway. So, oh, this is the other thing. I do like to take a little bit extra off of each side because when you go to fold this in half, and I'm talking about it's just a smidgen. When I go to fold this in half, your papers are definitely going to want to do what I was talking about when they kind of fan out, they come out, right? They get pushed out. So, I'm just going to insert this in here, and that is that. Now, there's, like I said, one side is higher than the bottom. So I'm going to put that part on top because I like to have a margin at the top better than at the bottom. And that will be my insert for this. And then all I do is stick these together. But let me go ahead and fold up the rest of them and I'll be right back. So I just finished that up. And we have all these little pieces of paper I can just put in the recycling. And let's see. Lucky girl that I am, I live near a Daiso, so I can buy their little stapler like this. Somebody had mentioned, they're like, oh, I have that same stapler, I didn't know it did that. So it swings out. I usually keep a link to a good swing arm stapler too, so I'll have that in there from Amazon. And I like to staple them from the inside out because that way the staples don't like gouge my little elastic that's in here. That's how we hold it in the book. So there's that. And there's that. Again, I'll have the link for this paper, but just make sure if you want B6 size, say you want B6 size, like download that one or whatever. I think they have it in a few different sizes on Maple Art. I haven't printed lined paper in a long time. I usually like doing a dot grid, a line, and a graph paper, which I love. Those are my favorite insert types. Sometimes I do like a calendar. I did buy a calendar that I liked, a weekly calendar on Etsy because it was so cute. It was only like $3. I mean, a lot of times people don't ask like for exorbitant amounts for these things, you know? Okay, so then I like to corner round, so I like the 1/2 inch corner round. And I'm just gonna corner round them all together, although my papers are kind of set in a little bit because of the way I created the cover. But again, this is for me and I don't care about that so much. So I'll corner around all these guys. So our inserts are done. And then with this guy, that's our cover, we need to score it. And so essentially, again, this is 7 1/4 by 11 1/4. We are scoring at 5 1/8 of an inch on either side. But I'm just going to score it going from left to right. So you can just take it, score it 5 1/8, and then turn it and do 5 1/8 again, or do what I'm saying. So I'm going to take this, scoring at 5 1/8. I like to have a score in between this. We're going to make a 1 inch spine. So the next score mark should be 5 5/8, right? And then the last one is at 6 1/8. But again, if you're coming from the other direction or you don't want that middle score line, just do 5 1/8, turn it, and do 5 1/8, which is basically this one. But if you're going in that direction, it ends up being 6 1/8, right? Or 5 1/8 and 6 1/8, however you want to score that. I do like giving it an actual score before I put it into the laminator. That way it's already used to being bent instead of popping open possibly in the laminator. One other thing I do like to have is a dashboard, and that is something nice that we can write on. I do like to corner around this too, so I'm going to go ahead and corner around my cover before I put it in the laminator. If you want to leave it pointy, that's fine, but you know lamination leaves like the pointy edges and they are a little scratchy. What I try to do is I have all these pieces here left over. That if one of these can be my dashboard, that'd be really nice, or a couple of them. Again, we did cut into these, leaving a legit 5 inch wide piece. But I'm also going to laminate this, so I don't really want it the whole 5 inches wide. So I think I'm going to use this one because it's gorgeous. And it's really pretty on the other side. Again, if you have something pretty, a die cut or something you want to put on here, some stickers or something to decorate the back, or maybe ooh, a calendar. Should I print out a little calendar? I was going to say, what would it be? This year and next year, or just next year? This is what's going to hold me up. I would like to print a calendar. Okay, let me go see if I can find a little 2023 calendar I can print up real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, we're moving right along. I just said free 2023 calendar printable, and this one looks good, so I clicked on that, and then I just right-click Oh, well, actually, I just clicked, but I didn't want to do that. What I usually do is I right click, oh my goodness, on the image. Why is this acting funny? Am I not on this page? Okay, that's why. Right click, and then I just say like open image in new tab or a new window, it doesn't matter. And then I'm just gonna go file, print, and you can see it's huge, and it's also black and white. I mean, I don't care about that, but if you want to find a colorful one, that's great. I'm gonna make it really small though, so I want to scale it. Let's see what 20% looks like. Oh no, I just sent it to print and that was way too small. Okay. I learned on my computer not too long ago that if you just click like enter for the size for this part, it means go print it. And that's not what I want. Let's say 25. That's still really small. Okay, let's do 50. 50 looks about better, right? Because if this is an A2 size, A4, sorry. What do we use? A2, yeah. It'd be like here. And that's within the size of what I want. So let's maybe 60. Yeah. Let's do 60. And then I'll say print. It's on color even though I don't know why. But I do want to say the juiciest. So where is that? I always forget. Oh well, this is fine. Okay, I'll be back. Oh my gosh, Vianney, remember I told you guys I was like, oh, I wanted the high quality, but I couldn't find it. But anyway, it was under Safari for some reason. Because it printed out like this, and I knew it, and that's why I wanted something better. But it does have color, look. But the second one I printed out supposedly in high quality. The colors are slightly different, so I think that's just my computer, the way it's mixing colors together. It's not doing a great job. That Canon. The thing is, I ordered tons more ink for it, and so, like, I don't want to switch out to another printer, you know? Okay. Those are just my little issues here. Okay, so let's see. Like I said, I want this to be about 5 by a little smaller than 7. Sometimes I like to put a little sticker hanging over the top or something cute, but right now we're just going to leave it pretty plain. So I'm going to cut this at... Let's do 6 7/8. Just so it's a little bit smaller. I know the outside cover is 7 1/4 anyway, but and then we're laminating that, so it's gonna be even taller. But this is for like the insert, you know, to help me write. And instead of just by 5, we'll do by 4 7/8. That's fine. I think that'll be good. And then this guy, I'm just gonna mat him on the back here. So like I said, I just printed this on regular printer paper. Yeah, that does not look great. But that's okay. I just need a little something, a little reference here. Just cutting right where that edge was. Maybe like about here. It looks crooked, so let me just cut this top part off too. You know what I'm saying, where the 2023 is. And that's just a little guy that can be popped on here. And that's all I want. So I'm just going to glue that down. And this is how it goes, guys. I'm just putting something together that I think is fun. You know, whatever you like. Ooh. I have all these little strips and things that... I was even thinking this strip actually would be really fun, right? To just change it up a little bit. A little something on there. Should I put it there or here? Oh my goodness. We can dress this guy up. I do want to put it on this side for whatever reason. So let's do that. Okay. I'm going to use the white glue even though I probably prefer I should use something that dries. Well, this dries fast. But what I mean is something that'll just stick there and not give me trouble right now, but when I go to heat this guy up, it's so funny. Okay, so we'll put that with this little guy and see how it laminates. Something pretty like that. And sometimes I even make a pocket. The last video I made for the little TN, that little Christmas one, I put a little pocket on there, but I think this is it for now. Let's leave that so it's more straight. Oh, that stuck down quick, and I'm like, oh, I think I need something that dries faster. And I also like to corner around this, so I'll corner around that too. I'm going to plug in my laminator because we have things to laminate now. And that's all I'll be doing. Just this guy, the cover. I do make a bookmark sometimes. How about we laminate this guy for a bookmark? Again, it has the glitter, so we'll see how well that holds up to lamination. And we can do something fun with this. I was gonna say we could corner around. I was looking for something fun to punch it with. Maybe this guy. I honestly don't know how thick this is, so what I'm gonna do is kind of put it in here in a way that I can see the backside and center it. That way I know that I'm popping it in a good spot. That looks good. Aww, so that's our little bookmark. Again, I can corner around the bottoms, which I probably will. Maybe a tighter corner around the 1/4 inch. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna plug in my laminator. Warming up. Put it over here for a moment. Inserts, inserts, inserts. I'm actually out of one of the packages, so that's cool. I do have a little bit in here. Like I said, whenever I cut these pieces off, I keep them because they can help you make like a little pocket or just other fun things you might need. So I'll put that over there. I'm gonna need 2 full sheets. I ordered tons from like matte ones from Amazon that work really great, so I'll link those if you're interested in maybe doing some matte lamination. These are from Daiso. I'm just finishing them up, but I have another whole set that I had ordered on Amazon that are really good too, so I'll link both of those. Along with this cutie. For a while they only had the 12-inch one, which is fine, this big guy, but this one has like the 9-inch opening or whatever, so like A2 and A4 size papers. Okay, so with these guys, I'm going to take one set. It looks like this is the opening, yeah. And you can put it facing up or face down, doesn't really matter. I try to leave myself a little bit, but if I can leave myself enough to where I don't have to cut it later, that's cool too, but you know. I do like to leave myself enough though that it does a nice seal. So if you get right to the edge, it's possible that that little seal didn't take, and then it's better to give yourself some room. And then we have this guy, and then nothing. So I'm going to cut this off because I can use it definitely, this big piece. Now if there's other things I want to laminate that I want to put in, like a little placeholder or like a cute little ephemera piece or something I want to make, you can put stickers right on here. You can laminate stickers. Just put it stick it on there on the inside, stick your sticker down and do that and it'll work. But for now, I'm going to keep this for another time. And then this guy in a full lamination sheet by itself. I always try to max out my lamination sheet, so these are A4 size because they're from Daiso. So they're going to be a little bit longer than like the kind that we normally get for an A2 size paper. But they are thinner. But anyway, it still works for this sizing. So once this thing tells me it's ready, is it? Oh, I can't tell if it's lit up or not. No, not yet. I'll be back. Okay, so let's put this little cutie to the side for right now. Let's run this guy through. Right down the center. I don't know why. I always have to look. I push it in here and I push it in too close to this side. Like, there's no reason to do that. It has a nice wide opening. And then sometimes it moves, you know, just because I didn't hold it or whatever, and it starts squishing over here. Nice and slow. Guys, I'll be back. I will say it's looking really nice. Look how it's coming out over here. Like, just nice and crisp. Love it. Once this comes out, I'm going to cut off the excess because it looks pretty good. So if it didn't look like it had sealed up real well, I'd run it through again. But that looks like a really, really nice seal. So I'm going to cut the excess off the top and the bottom and this other side, and I'm going to give it a little I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and bend it, and if it pops open, then I'm going to run it through again. So let's again get close, but not so close that you're cutting off the air bubble that's left here. Like, this is still a little too much. I'm going to cut a little bit more off for my liking. Okay. You don't want to get in this air space because then it'll just delaminate later. And then down here also, I'm just kind of eyeballing where the end of my folder is on here, or cover. Okay. Oh, and then this guy needs to be cut off a little bit. Up here. That looks pretty good. And what I mean is I'm going to go ahead and give it that score, and if it pops away from the paper, then I'll run it back through, but that looks really good. Did not pop away from my paper. The middle one, I don't really score it too much until like I go to use it, so I'm gonna leave that not really scored. But as you can see, if you saw like white, then that means it delaminated. I would push it back through, but since it didn't, I'm happy. I'm gonna leave it alone, and I'm gonna run through the next one, making sure everything is nice and straight in here. And I'm just gonna start this guy. This guy I might have to run through a couple times because there are some layers of paper, right? Some different layers, even though I use printer paper on that calendar. Okay, I'm just gonna hold it. I'm holding it down here. I know you can't see, but down here, I'm holding it steady, just so that the bookmark doesn't fall out. I'll be right back. Looking really nice. We'll see in that middle section, and then also where that glitter strip is, how nicely it might have done its thing. So funny because it's just where that strip is. Look how nice that is. But you see how it's kind of like an air bubble right there, and then down here. So what I'm gonna do is trim away this, since that looks pretty good. My bookmark, I'm just gonna cut it off. It doesn't need to go back through. I'm of the opinion is the more and more you run it through, the weaker it gets, because how many times can you heat it up, you know? So now this time I'm gonna run it through in this direction and see if that helps it out a little bit. Okay, and I'll be back. I'm gonna trim this up also while I'm off camera. A little better. Yep, because that doesn't matter, it's gonna get cut off, and then look at that, it's sealed right where I need it to, so I can cut this off. Very good. Okay, let's unplug that. I'm gonna take this and then again trim it away, and everything that needs to be corner rounded, like this one I did do the 1/4 inch corner round on it. I'm gonna come around and do that. Same thing with my cover, just because these are really sharp. You do not want that poking you, so you definitely want to corner round them. And I'll be back. Okay guys, so we have all these different things. We do need to make some holes to string our inserts in, but we have pretty much everything. Let's see here. Okay, these don't take me very long to put together. So we have our inserts. This one goes this way. I'm just looking at the margin on the top. And this one goes this way. So we have these 3 guys. I'll probably do something like this. I put them in there. And then we have our dashboard ready to go, so I can use it. And it has a very useful calendar on there, even though it's printed not too nicely. I will leave that there. Oh, I just lost it. Where'd it go? Let's put it over here. And then this guy, all I'm going to do is just pop the little hole in. Ooh, I thought I was going to do that. Hold on. There we go. Just popping the center there, and I can still put a little ribbon or something cute in there, so we have like a little bookmark, or at least a place to keep a space. I think I'll do a second video making like the paper clips and things that I add and stuff like this, because I got that fuse tool and I want to put a little shaker in here, so hopefully that'll work out for us. Okay, as far as, that's why this thing was marked. I like to come in here, and that's as small as I can get, huh? We can go in, looks like 1/8. I generally don't mark these, but I mark them for you guys, but usually I just eyeball where you need 3 dots, like just inside where the paper is. So like here, in the middle, and in the middle. So right down the center, and then in between the 1/2 inch marks that are there. So if I set this thing on 1/8, I'm pretty much there. I want a little bit deeper than that, so I'm gonna change that. Let's see, is that any better? That's pretty much the same where I was. Let's do it a little bit more. Ooh, almost a whole 1/4 inch. Yeah, a little bit more than that. Sorry, guys. It just depends on how much you leave on your clear, you know, the lamination. So that looks good. So since this is already pretty much marked for me, all I have to do is pop the hole. I already know it's going to be the same level. Because I set that. So 1, 2, and 3. I'll do the same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3. This is where it gets a little bit crazy. You might have, well, actually, you can still use a corner chomper if you want to put your little band that holds it closed in the back. Some people like to put a little hole here, and they strap it in here so it goes around the other way. I like to put it in the middle of the spine. So you can use like one of those old school like anything that makes a hole, basically. I mean, whatever it is, but I have my big bite and that's what I use, and it's the same, the smaller hole is what I like to use, and this thing I can bring right in here. Oopsie. And I'm just eyeballing where the middle is. I need to see a little more this way. Before I really give it a squeeze, I just double check. That looks good. And I punch it right down the center. Okay, let me put these things away and I'll be right back. So, I'm just going to use black elastic because I have it. I like 2mm elastic basically. I'll have this linked. It goes to Amazon. It's a ton. I don't really measure it other than to kind of have an idea of how much I need. I'll wrap it around because it is going to go around twice plus a little extra. So like this much, you know, as far as how much I go in. So we start bottom center hole. Go in there and bring it to like wherever you think that you need. Go up that bottom left side. It's gonna come up. And then go up that very same one at the top on the left. You're gonna come back in the middle. I have a feeling I need a little bit more. Okay, so then you're gonna bring this to the center from the outside in. And now this one is going to go back in that center hole that you started with. So it gets a little tricky because you might have to get a pokey tool or something to help you push it through. And use nice thick elastic. That little skinny elastic doesn't quite do the job and it looks really hokey. Like, not great. It's better to use this kind. And then we're going to go up this to the right from the outside, right? And then back down at the very top right. And I like to have 4 strings because what happens is when I tie this off, I'm going to have 3 insert strings and then I'm going to have 1 extra one for a folder or something else you might want to add, which I haven't done yet, the folder, but I will. So from out here, again, we're going to push it through the middle, just like we did before, but this time it's going from the outside in. I still try to be careful with it. The smallest little amount I got in there, and then I can kind of try to manipulate that. And there we go. And just, you know, before you cut everything off, even that is a little bit much, so what I'm going to do is take it back because I don't like wasting. So what I'm going to do is take a little of this back and just snake back through until you're happy with the amount that's left. Like that's still too much. Let's go this way. And that's kind of why I don't cut it off and I don't really measure. I'm just feeling this out. Okay, and now these guys are going to tie together in the center. And they don't have to be like guitar strings, just a little, you know, if you get them too tight, your book is going to start bending like this. So just tight enough that they're okay. And you can readjust them if they're not too tight and you want them tightened up later, just snake through again and just tie it a different way. So for right now, I do have 4 strands that can hold 4 things, although I only have 3 things. So again, these are my little swappy books. So I have lined. Let's use this one. Oopsie. See, I'm already forgetting, guys. I haven't done this in a long time. We need this guy to close our book. So what I usually do with that, I just kind of eyeball how much you would need. And for it to also be snug. You don't want it to be super loose, right? So it has a good amount. So what I used to do in the past is I would, let's pull these back out. I would string it through, let's say I wanted it over here or however. And this is going to come around like this, right? And then go back in the hole. And you can add whatever you want to put on here, beads or charms, and you can do it later. You can, you know, add a little swag buckle or something that looks cute, whatever it is that you want. Or you can just go like this, give it a little knot, and I left this kind of tight, so I'm going to make the smallest knot that I can. Sometimes I'll leave it more generous at the end, but I think I left myself very little, so we want to tighten that up as much as I can. And now I'm just going to push it through the hole. So I already made the loop. I'm just going to get it through this hole to the other side. Just pushing it so I can grab it. And I'm just going to pull it through. Okay, the knot's in there. Alright, now let's put this back. And then, like I said, I still have an extra strap or extra strand for something else. And that is my basic book, you guys. I'm sorry that I printed out the wrong size lined inserts. I mean, it's good, it works. They usually don't have registration marks like this showing up. But like I said, I didn't rotate it like I was supposed to. Rotate a landscape, I left it portrait, so that's part of the issue here. But check that out. And it's brand new, so it looks like nice and tight like this. And then it starts filling out once you start putting more and more things in it. And then, you know, if I had the folder, obviously it would be even more full, but now I have this. Again, dashboard is something that you can put back here, and when you write, you have something nice and firm to write on once it starts getting filled up of stuff, you know. It might get harder to do. So there's that, there's this. You can add pockets. I'm going to cut out something in like, what's this stuff called? Vinyl on the Cricut. This is like VianneyCreates swaps or something like that, and hopefully something cute now that I know how to use my fonts, or found my fonts. Oh my goodness. So that'll be that. And then I'm just going to add some ribbon in here just to make that easy. But that is it, guys. A little traveler's notebook. Just begun. Thanks for watching. Again, I'll link whatever might be available in the description box, and hopefully you have some pretty papers and things you can do this yourself, just with what you have in your stash, right? Yeah, so follow-up video on decorating a little bit more. Bye now.